Welcome to the future. Hello everyone tuning in live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. My name is Chris Doe, and I teach business principles to creatives. How am I qualified to do this? Relax, I'm certified. I have a black belt in BJJ, Business Jiu-Jitsu. Today's Thursday, and we talk about mindset things, and so I thought let's kick this new series off, Mindset, with teachers, people who have had an influence or impact in shaping your worldview. This could be a teacher, as the one that you take in or you have in a classroom. Could be a parent, a friend, a coach, an advisor, a therapist. This could be a book you've read, somebody, some fool that you watch on YouTube. Who has helped to shape your worldview? We're going to share stories. We're going to talk to you. But before we do that, let's say hello to the dream team minus Autobot. Hey guys, say hello.
Hey guys, I'm super excited about this topic today. I have plenty of teachers I want to talk about, but I'll have to pick and choose.
Buenos días, todo el mundo del futuro. Aquí estoy yo, Aaron. Y we're going to be talking about what Chris said. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Welcome.
It's going to be awesome.
Good job. And Stuart.
Hey everybody, I'm Stuart Schuster. I had a really funny intro during the rehearsal, but I was told that the internet would credit me if I used it, so I'm giving you the soft sell here. Nice to see you.
Good job,
Stay
good job.
tuned.
Stuart, your mic seems a little low to me. Maybe it needs to be...
I bumped it.
You bumped it? Or
I thought he was going to do his big intro. So
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. It's all good, guys.
I wish he did.
We can just confirm that we're coming in loud and clear on our different channels, Aaron, before we really dive into this.
We're live on
We're live?
Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, Molly, you've confirmed that?
I see Facebook. I'm
I'm
looking
looking
for
on-
YouTube.
Okay, I'm looking on YouTube myself. So,
I don't see
you know what?
YouTube.
Aaron, let's just get the main title ready, and
It's ready.
let's roll the main title then. All right, here we are. We're back. Molly, can you confirm we're on YouTube?
I cannot.
I can. We are on YouTube.
Okay, I'll take Aaron's word for it. We're good to go. So let's just talk about this a little bit. I want to just hand it off to you guys before I share my story about some of the teachers who have had a lot of impact on my life, and I'm forever grateful for those people who have played a role in sharing their ideas, their passion, their love with me. So Molly, why don't we start with you? Let's hear your story about teachers who have influenced you, and then we're going to hear later on from our audience who are tuning in live.
Can I talk about more than one story, or are we just highlighting
You're so
one?
greedy. Just start with one.
All
Start with
right.
your best story.
Well, listen, there's this, I told you all before, I have a learning disability. And so in elementary school, it was always tough for me, just throughout school, it was tough for me to really gain information. So there was this one teacher that stands out beyond everyone else, and her name is Miss Falk. Shout out to Miss Falk. She would just come into the class with so much energy, and you could just see that she loved to be there and loved to be involved with her students. And the stuff that we were learning about was science, and so everything that she would do, she would come up with a song. And I still remember her songs till this day. So one of her songs was "The watery gel inside the cell is cytoplasm," and she would just get everyone in the class to sing these songs, and so it was just so much fun, and I actually remembered things. And my mom hired her to be my tutor. End of the story.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, she was amazing. And I mean, everyone knew it too. Like, all the parents requested her to be their student. I mean, to be the teacher.
Wait, so not to pry, but is it like you have a learning disability? What could you go into that
It was
real quick?
learning processing information disorder. So I would read something and it wouldn't like click in my head. Like, I wouldn't gain that information. It wouldn't stay. So
Interesting. I think I have that too.
You have a learning disability, Aaron?
I mean, now that she says that's what it is, I feel like that's
well,
what I
had like an IEP and it did testing, and
Oh, yeah, I've
something
never
that-
been
yeah.
tested. Okay,
But-
yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I love how Aaron just cuts you off after he's like, tell me more about your learning disability.
Well, I mean, you want to talk more about it?
I do.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
I mean, I'm open. You can.
Well, Chris,
ask.
do you have any questions about it?
Well, I was going to ask you, without throwing shade on your other instructors, what made it so unique besides teaching you via rhyme or some kind of mnemonic device? Was there something about her personality that connected with you?
It was her personality, for sure. That's what, like, she would just come in the room with so much energy. I feel like she just shined compared to all the other teachers that were, like, coming in. They're, like, pretty monotoned and boring. She would come in and just, you could tell how excited she was to be there and interact with her students and really care, like really want you to understand the information, and will sit with you for long periods of time to make sure that you understand it. So that's something that like stuck.
Okay, so I'm going to write something down here. So if I were to write down the traits of a good instructor is, what would you say?
Passion.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah, she like the teacher really cared that Molly learned, so she would try everything. She would do songs. The energy was always there. She wouldn't give up on her.
So she was creative.
Yeah.
And passion, and she would give you her time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just making notes how to be a good teacher, so that I may learn.
Chris, you're in my list too.
Oh,
okay.
oh, thanks. Okay, let's jump over to Mr. Stewart. Stewart, share some of your stories, please.
Well, the person that I thought of is not like officially a teacher, but he was my boss at the very first like sort of real job that I had.
Don't talk about me. You're gonna make me blush. Come on, Stewart. No, who is this person? Tell us about your boss.
It was my first like real job outside of after having graduated. It was at a video game company that no longer exists. And I had been hired onto the media productions department. So what we did was we did all the sort of like, if you want to say like DVD extras essentially for the video games, like we did all the behind the scenes documentaries and the trailers and all that kind of stuff. A lot of what we did was editing stuff. We didn't shoot as much. Some other people did that, but the guy who ran the department's name was James Carey, and he sort of took me under his wing, right after school, taught me things that I didn't know about, like at that time, Final Cut Pro 7, I think was what we were cutting in. Taught me things about that, taught me things about, that they just don't teach you in school, things about technical things, and also like just ways to interact with producers, with people who are working on the games, just everything. Sort of taught me a lot of like personality traits that that's again the kind of thing that you don't learn in school. So some of the notes that I wrote about him was took care of me in a time when I needed a good role model in the industry. You're right out of school. Obviously, the major thing that you need is somebody to be a good role model for you. Always aimed at trying to be the best he could be and to do the right thing. Like that was always his goal. Always top of his list was like doing the right thing and being the best that he could be. And he was great at working with producers and other people that were requiring our services. Also teaching me how to be realistic about when you could deliver on things, what was realistic and what wasn't. And one of the biggest things that he did was he taught me patience and forgiveness. There's a story behind that, which is I don't know if anybody is familiar with LTO tape, but it's a backup device for information that's basically like a magnetic strip of tape, and we would back up all of our server stuff onto these LTO tapes pretty regularly, but there was a lot of stuff for a long time that hadn't gotten backed up, and Jim, which was what we normally called him, which is kind of funny because then his name was Jim Carey. But Jim was working on backing up a lot of stuff that like hadn't been, dealt with, and he was doing it in one of the edit bays, and basically had put like a moratorium on doing anything in this edit bay. He was like, I don't want anybody doing anything here. Like I'm backing up on this computer. Like nobody does anything with this edit bay, just stay out of it. Well, me being an idiot kid, I went into said edit bay and thought that I could do a tape layoff. We were still doing some tape layoffs at that time. I thought that I could do a tape layoff without messing anything up. And I went into the edit bay, opened up Final Cut, inserted the project, like did the tape layoff. Right as it was finishing, whole thing crashes. I mean, like, probably a week or a week and a half worth of his work done, just gone in an instant. And dude, I have never felt that bad in my entire life about anything. I mean, I genuinely, like, that was a, like, it, like, I thought I was gonna lose my job, and I thought he was gonna hate me forever. And I walked into his office, like, tears just, like, sort of starting to well up in my eyes, and I'm like, Jim, I did something really stupid, just, please forgive me. And he was like, what did you do? And I explained it to him, and I mean, you could just see, like, just the fire, like, in his eyes, like, building up, as I'm explaining to him what happened. But he kept his calm the whole time. And he was just like, when I was done explaining to him, he just looked at me and he was like, Stuart, it was a mistake. Don't ever do it again. I'm going to go back there and I'm going to fix it. And he went back there, got his backup thing running again, lost like a whole week and a half's worth of work, but he never yelled at me. He never, like, freaked out, I mean, he really kept his calm, and he did a great job at teaching me how to do the same. So
wow,
that would be my teacher story.
Whew. I think there's so many things to unravel in that one particular story. Thank you for sharing how you effed it up, how you were impatient, cocky, and arrogant, and that was a very humbling experience, I must have imagined. What drove you to go do it, even though he said, everybody, please don't do anything for today? Like, why were you so anxious to get in there and do something?
Well, first of all, that machine was the only one that was tied to all the tape decks. So that was the only way that we could do a tape layoff. And it's like, we didn't do that many tape layoffs at that time. It had already gone the way of the dinosaur, but every once in a while, somebody would ask for like a digibeta of something, or somebody would even ask for like a VHS screener of something. And my thought was, well, the backups, they're just running in the background. Like, it's no big deal. Like, I can go in there really quick. This is like a 5-minute thing, and I could just lay it off really quick, and it won't be any big deal. The amount of power or whatever that the computer is going to need to do this is not going to significantly affect it enough that it's going to, like, crash the system compared to what the backups need.
So you thought you knew better?
Yes, I thought that I knew better.
You thought that he was being overly conservative, and you're smarter than the wise man you were looking up to.
Yes.
Wow. I'd love to get Molly and Aaron in on this conversation, but I can see that the internet is saying patience is greater than anger with an employee. And as much as I try to be, and you guys can laugh at me in a second here, as much as I try to be a thoughtful, considerate boss, that would send me through the roof, gotta say. And I can only imagine this man had the patience of an angel or something to be able to sit there and quell the anger that's building up in his head. I can only imagine, as you were describing that, the visual that came to my mind is something like a thermometer where the mercury's rising, and as you're telling the story, it's like, I told you, and the steam is about to kind of come out of his ears.
Oh, his face was going like just more and more brighter shades of red as I'm laying out what happened. I mean, it was almost like the comical thing where, like, smoke is coming out of his ears, and, like,
yeah. So he must have done his daily meditation that morning, thankfully. Otherwise, read you the riot act. The first issue I thought was, your concern came to, I think I'm going to get fired over this, versus I let my mentor down. I let somebody down that I looked up to.
Well, I mean, I think part of that is maybe youth. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
How old were you
it
back
was
then?
my first real job outside of school.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think at that time, like, yeah, my first reaction was like, yeah, I am gonna lose my job, you know.
Right.
But I also definitely was my second was like, oh crap, I just screwed up this guy's thing that he's been working like a week and a half on, you know, and he's gonna have to start all over again, you know. And if the servers went down tomorrow, you know, it would really be my fault that all that stuff is lost.
Right.
You know, because he was doing the right thing. So,
Well, of course, that was the job. He was he was doing the right thing. He was doing his job, and
yeah.
you're the young guy who came in and was like, nah, I know better. Let me do my thing. Okay, great story. I want to just say quickly thank you to Manav Adan, who gave us 200 something. I don't know what unit of measure that is, but thank you very much on the super chat. Really appreciate it.
Also, people are saying, like Chance on Facebook said this channel has been a big influence in my current motivation. So thanks,
Wow.
Chris, for everything, and thanks to the whole Future team for sharing.
You're welcome.
That's sweet.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We want to continue this conversation, so I'm going to say something, and I'll share my story, and then maybe Aaron or you guys can chime in and talk about it a little bit. Does anybody else want to add anything to Stuart's story?
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really understand most of it, but I think what I got was that he got in trouble because he screwed up at work, and I can relate to that
On a daily basis?
Oh, God.
Good one. No, but I feel like that's like a moment when, for me, when I got chewed out one time, I learned, like, I changed from that day on. Like,
Who chewed
I was
you out?
different. Tony Wong.
Tell us about the story. Molly,
So-
can you kill your mic? You have so much background noise on your mic for some reason. Thank you. Go ahead, Aaron. You're coming in loud and clear. I think Molly's is boosted so loud that every little background noise, including her breathing, I can hear.
Molly, which one's yours? D? B?
Remember B for beautiful?
boy?
No, B for beautiful.
For boy.
Come on.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
Still really loud. Okay, Aaron, tell your story about Tony Wong, how he chewed you out.
So, I mean, I was just kind of being lazy and slacking off and getting there late, and then
I know
there were
that, Aaron.
mistakes in
Yeah.
the edit, and I mean, for me, I just was looking at that job as like, whatever, this is some like whatever thing. I want to shoot movies, and I'm shooting this guy's little promo videos for YouTube about meditation. Like, it just was all BS, and I wasn't happy with it, so I was giving it C- effort. But then when he chewed me out, it made me realize, like, just like a whole lot of things about myself that I was doing, that if I'm not happy with what I'm doing, I should stop doing it, or just do this 100% and do a really good job. And then I felt like I let him down because, yeah, actually that was the first thing I felt. So maybe I'm a little better than Stuart here, because I felt right away like, oh man, I let this guy down. Like, he's a legit guy, and I let him down, and that really, it hurt me and it made me change. So
Well, let me dive into this a little bit here.
Thanks, jerk.
Right, everybody's mic is great except for Molly. So when Molly turns it on, we'll see what happens here. But let's stay with you, Aaron. Cut back to yourself. I want to talk to you, or do a side by side or something.
okay.
Let's do that. Okay, cool. My question for you is this: is you're in a job, you don't believe in the work that you do, typical millennial, right? And you're like, I'm gonna give this C- effort with your B+ skill, which would put that at,
was a D.
at a D. It's
At
pretty
best.
much a D at best.
Yeah, yeah.
And you didn't hide your feelings. It's hard. I know you really well. Whatever you feel, you wear on your face. So Tony must have picked up on this. But did you do something explicit or overt where he saw, like, you're only giving me half effort here, man, and it's not good enough? What
Yeah,
did
well,
you
like
do?
what I said, I mean, every day I was at least like 5 minutes late,
Oh,
or the edits that I had promised him like do on a day, they were full of mistakes. So he had to like watch through it, and he's like, dude, right here the audio is weird. There's like a weird thing, like, or the video, this is spelled wrong. You know,
my
like,
gosh.
So I didn't like QC my own work because I'm like, I don't want to QC. That's a waste of time. Like, you know,
Because I'm perfect?
I was so like resentful of the whole thing,
Mm.
and it made me realize my whole attitude was bad.
Yeah, you have a terrible attitude. I'm glad that he called you out. So now let's get into how he chewed you out.
Wait, one sec. You said present tense. You have a terrible attitude.
No, you
Why
have
do you say that?
you have a terrible attitude there in this story.
Oh, okay.
I'm still in the story
The
here.
timeline of the story. Okay.
Yeah, so tell me how he chewed you out. Like, Say
it was
it back
like
to me.
legit. Like he was, you know that dude. He's
I know
high
that dude.
energy,
He's
man.
intense.
He was like pretty much yelling
Well,
at me.
tell
like,
me what he said.
He was looking
okay,
at
hold
me.
on, hold on. Before
That's
you
kinda
tell me,
scary, dude.
hold on. Before you say, I want to say, if there are any young children, anybody that's sensitive to foul language, this would be a good time to go to the bathroom or take a quick break. And for the rest of the adults, grab an adult beverage, cozy on up, because Aaron's going to drop some F-bombs here. I want you to say it back to me as if you were him talking to yourself. Let us have it. Go full screen on yourself, dude. Come on.
I'm trying to think. I
Okay.
can't remember what he said. Honestly,
come on,
it was
man.
like a
Come
blur,
on.
dude. I just remember
Make it
how
up
I
then.
felt.
Do
You know
it
that
from
saying?
the heart.
It's like, I don't remember what you say. I remember how you made me feel. I remember how I felt.
How did you feel?
Well, bad. But more words, right. So, like, he was yelling at me, using bad words, and I was just thinking about all the things I just told you.
How loud was his volume?
It was, like,
Screaming?
not screaming, but it was very stern. Like, he was upset. He was using bad words.
Dropping F-bombs
You
on
know?
you?
Yeah.
Can you give us a gist of the conversation, and I'm going to let you go?
The gist of the conversation was, like, you're not giving 100%. You're screwing up. You're wasting my time. You're not taking this seriously. I'm pissed off at you. F you.
And then what?
And more of the same.
And then you need to make a decision if you want to be here or
no,
not?
it was weird. That there was no that part of it. He was just relaying to me how my lack of doing a good job made him feel and affected him. He didn't, like, tell me to do anything, like, you know? It was just, he just relayed how he felt, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
But, so, yeah.
Now
He didn't tell me, like, give me an ultimatum, like, you know, or you're fired. There was nothing like that. I think it was implied. It was very strongly implied. That's what's cool about someone when you have, like, a good teacher-student relationship like that. They don't have to explicitly say everything to you. You kind of get it, and they get what you're, you know? You don't have to be explicit.
Yeah. I get it. I like to be explicit, though. I also like to end with a clear, actionable decision that you need to make. So if I were him, I would say something. I would say that whatever he said, and just add in that last part, is if you don't want to be here, just let me know. This could be your last day. But if you want to be here, I expect a certain level of professionalism from you. So let's step it up. Give me your best effort. Show me what you can do, because I can't be sitting around correcting your mistakes. And just leave
He
it
definitely
like that.
said that. I can't be sitting around correcting your mistakes. He said
Okay.
that.
All right. So there's some questions here coming from the internet. Before I get everybody super upset at me, I threw the millennial comment. I know it's a hand grenade. I threw it, and there it is, kaboom. And now people are saying baby boomers suck, whatever. That's fine. Now, there's a great talk about this from Simon Sinek. He talks about millennials, how your way of thinking, it's not through any fault of your own. You were taught you could be anything and do anything, and just because you wanted it, you could achieve it. You got first place for coming in last and all these kinds of things. It was because you were raised by certain parents who instilled this upon you. I get that. And this is a broad statement, but I run into lots of young people, and unfortunately, the younger people kind of act and behave like this. Well, I don't believe in this, so why did you show up? Why did you take my money? Why did you take up the space here if you don't want to be here? Yeah, you're right. You could pursue whatever you want, but don't do it under false pretext. Don't come in here saying, I'm going to do a good job for you. I'm going to give it my all, and then give it that D- effort. That just sucks, and it creates tension like this. Now, unfortunately, it led to this thing where Tony had to drop a bomb on your face, and you dealt with it like a man. You grew, you learned, and you showed up either 100% committed or you left. What did you decide to do?
Yeah, so actually, that's funny you mention that, because, like, the day after or something, or a couple days after, like, you know, it was, like, right on a Friday that this happened, so that was great, because then the weekend to cool down. But then Monday I went back there, and first thing he said was like, dude, I know I got super pissed at you, but you took it really well, man. That was good. Like, you just hung in there with the fire, and, like, that was good. You know, like, he was like, I guess he respected me, because I was really chill about it. Like, I didn't get scared or cry or whatever. Like, I was just played it cool, man. I'm like, yeah, you're right, bro. I'm sorry. Like, and then, so I guess he respected me more after that I just came back and I was, like, unaffected. I mean, I was affected, but, you know, not, like, in a weird way. Just like, all right, I get what you're saying, dude. I will change.
Okay, awesome.
I feel like I'm talking too much, man.
No,
don't
I
know.
like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too. So, oddball question. Yoshimura had asked me, did I get a facial? No, I did not get a facial. You see this little pimple right here? Yeah.
I think he's talking about the quality of the lighting, which I will take as a compliment. So,
Okay, you guys, come back to me, Aaron. The reason why I look better today is because I'm standing closer to the light source, which is like up there and down there. That's the only difference. Usually I'm back here, and you can see the difference in lighting. and then you can see me here. You see there's a big difference, and I'm going to try to move this stuff out of the way so I can get back into the beauty light. It is a lot about the lighting.
I feel
So
like
thank you.
if you could, like, the focus is just like an inch behind you, like right there is
Right there?
focus. If you get too close, it blurs a little.
Man, the depth of field is so shallow. Okay. So that's the answer to that question. I have a point. Okay, we're going to take some more questions in a second.
Okay.
Okay. So
I have a comment I want to read.
go ahead. Read the comment. Go ahead.
All right, this is a shout out to my mom.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom. So she commented saying, I have a memory of a high school science teacher who told me to never pursue science because I'd be awful at it. That was all I needed to hear to motivate me to pursue biology and chemistry in a college and graduate with honors. With that being said, authority figures, mentors, teachers have huge impacts in our lives, both negative and positively.
Yeah, sometimes teachers can tell you you're not cut out for this, and to everybody, they feel, like, why would you say that? You're crushing somebody's dream. But you know what? Just because you want to do something doesn't mean you're good for it. I still hear so much noise from Molly's mic. So Molly, hit yourself on mute, please.
What is that?
It's Molly. I can hear it so loud in my ear, okay? Let's just keep moving on here. Now, I want to share a couple of stories, and then Stuart and everybody else that you guys want to chime in, please feel free to do this. I'm going to share a story. This was not one of the original planned stories, but based on Molly's mom, hi Mom, comment, I want to respond to that. First term, Art Center. I'm 18 years old, I think. Yeah, I'm 18. And I step into his class. It's Roland Young's class. He's a legend at Art Center. He teaches communication design. Molly will share a link with you guys in a little bit where you can watch how Roland behaved. And he's one of those old school teachers that you hear about that would tear up your work, demonstrably yell at you, do all these kinds of things. And I remember there was a big guy, his name is Jim, and Jim was studying graphic design, and we were doing an ad, and he was doing something for Fender guitar. I think that's what it was, some guitar brand. And Roland looked at it, and he's a small, frail, older Chinese American man, and he was standing there, and Jim's a tall, strapping, strong, muscular Caucasian guy, and he was just sitting there yelling at Jim the whole time. I was thinking, man, he's going to push this too far, and Jim's going to take a swing at him, and that'll be that. One guy will get expelled, one guy will have a broken jaw. But you know what he said to Jim? He said, you're not passionate about this. This is not for you. You see how, like, that person dresses and how they put themselves together? And then he called out some girl in class and made her feel a little self-aware and embarrassed. He said, see how she gets up in the morning? She puts everything together. You can't be a designer if you don't care about the details. This is not for you. And everybody was on edge. I just remember, like, oh, gosh, I just want to get out of this room. I felt bad for Jim. I felt bad for everybody. The really interesting thing is Jim dropped out of the graphic design program, and he switched over to advertising, and then he pursued advertising. Later on, I chatted with him. He's like, you know what? I needed to hear that. I needed to know that this was not my thing. He looked into my soul. He knew what it was, and he figured it out. The great thing about this is Jim went on to have a very successful career in advertising and is now teaching at Art Center, teaching advertising classes. So sometimes it does take somebody, and you can think, oh my God, what a jerk. But for somebody just to say to you, this is not for you. There's something else for you. This isn't it. Okay? I know that's super critical, but there's a comment here from Kit Fox. Kit Fox says, say this. Wait, hold on. Oh man, it just moved. Sorry, my bad. It's not Kit Fox. Where are we? Something like cry. There's no crying in graphic design. Who said that? Yeah, it is Kit Fox in Tom Hanks' voice. There it is. All right. I want Molly as my private teacher. I don't think that's appropriate.
Yeah, that's not appropriate. Sorry, guys. Not happening.
Not happening. Okay. And I said for you guys earlier to go get an adult beverage. That doesn't mean alcohol. It could mean coffee. A beverage for adults. All right. Stuart, anything you want to add to this conversation? Anybody else?
Also, I have the video pulled up.
Okay.
Of Roland, if you
just drop it in the link in the comment right now.
Okay.
Because since we can't hear audio on that video, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Molly will drop a link on Facebook and on YouTube about Roland. There's a website. I think it's Roland is God or something like that, and you guys can check them out. All right. Somebody's saying I don't need a facial. I always look fresh. Thank you very much. It's nice to hear the site off The Apprentice off. I can't even understand that. Okay. A millennial did that lighting. Aaron. Did you hear that? Meaning you're a millennial. I was bagging on millennials. But I can't even hear
That was
you
a
now.
compliment.
That was a compliment.
Oh, okay. That's all I was wondering.
Yeah, don't become offended. Jordan Robinson said, or no, not, oh gosh, the screen is moving. Here it is. It's Cameron Leahy said a millennial did that lighting. Cameron, it is true. A millennial did do this lighting.
This one did it. And
This-
this guy here, my partner in crime. I don't know if you could see him. He's right there.
Oh,
MC.
Mark slipped in.
Yeah, he
All right.
did.
A millennial did this lighting under whose tutelage? Aaron?
What is tutelage?
Who taught you to do this lighting?
Oh, that was the guy. That's my story about the guy that teach me things.
Who's that?
One of my guys is Andrew Trong. Andrew, if you're out there, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so...
No, let's rewind.
Well, okay.
Hold on. I believe I specifically came in and told you put a light here, put a light here. It's called a butterfly lighting setup. Just do what I tell you and it'll work.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's what
I
I'm talking
glossed
about.
over that
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
right, of
That's
course.
just, I just
A
wanna
lot of the
clear it up.
conceptual ideas for the lighting come from Mr. Doe, and then I just put it into practice, tweak it,
Master
make
it,
it work. Yeah.
perfect it, and troubleshoot. Totally true. All right. Let's tell another story here. I don't know who else has got another story, or anybody else want to add anything before I tell you my story? Molly, you're moving like you're going to say something, so say it.
No, I'm good.
You just give me those eyes like, hey, put me in, coach. Put me in.
No, I'm good.
Don't give me those eyes. Okay, don't give me those eyes.
Okay,
You're not
okay,
going to say anything. Okay, very well. I'm going to share a story with you guys right now. Aaron, can we cut to me? Is everything okay over there, you guys?
Yeah, we're just trying to fix this weird little sound that...
Okay, cool. All right. Here's my story. I'm going to take you guys back to middle school. I'm at John Steinbeck Middle School in San Jose, California. I'm taking shop class with Mr. Isaac Azzopardi. And he's a tall man, dark curly hair. I think he's Italian. Big broad shoulders, but very lean. And he was a general contractor in real life and taught shop to a bunch of hooligans like myself. Mostly boys. There were always a couple of girls in there, but mostly boys. And he gave us 4 assignments. And when I think back to those assignments and what I learned from them, I still carry the lessons with me today. This is now 20 plus years later that I still remember the lessons that were taught. And he taught in a very unique way. He would give you a short lecture, show you some slides, and then he designed these assignments to be the way that you would learn is you would learn by doing. So the first assignment he gave us was to design a house. He asked us to go around and take measurements of all the furniture in our house, the windows, the rug, the table, whatever, and we would measure everything. Then he taught us how to do a floor plan, and now we're going to use the measurements from the things that in life, and he would teach us about how to orient the house relative to the sun pattern, how it moved from the east to the west. He would teach us about space planning, the triangle in the kitchen between the refrigerator, the stove, and the sink. He taught us about all these things. And then we had to build our house in scale, a model home like about that big, out of wood. And we got bonus points for adding details. And I learned about foundation, substructure, joists, how to do drywall, sheetrock, etc. And it was an incredible way to learn. He gave us 3 more assignments: a race car, a bridge, and a hot air balloon. Each one of these assignments taught us different things, and we were learning things about physics and aerodynamics, about wind resistance, things that you wouldn't normally retain if you weren't doing it with your hands. So Mr. Azzopardi, I don't know where you are, but thank you very much. I learned so much from your assignments, and my takeaway from that is, as a teacher, as a person who's trying to share what I know with lots of people, the genius is in the design of the assignments itself. And on that note, Molly, do you have the worksheet prepared? Yeah, okay. We're going to cut to that in a second. I just want to let you guys know, some of the things I prepare and share with you guys is free. Some of it is via, if you give us your email address, you can download it. Some of it's for money. But I spent a lot of time thinking about these frameworks, these assignments, so that you can take it, and with very little instruction, you can do it yourself. My golden standard is Apple. Apple doesn't require instructions. You open it up, and everything kind of materializes before your eyes. So let's cut to that. There's this worksheet. It's called the Focus Worksheet. And you guys that aren't on our email list, you would have gotten an advanced copy of this, but now it's open to the public. And it doesn't cost any money. These are some sample pages from the worksheet. It'll help you look at your time, set your goals on an annual and a quarterly basis, and you can use this. And it's the good news is it's totally free. All you have to go to the Future site, thefuture.com, and you guys can download this resource. Okay? let's continue the conversation. Anybody else want to talk about anything?
I just had a question. Like, so what is that worksheet again? Just like top level?
The thing is to help you become more efficient at how you use your time, to help you focus. And it makes you commit on a piece of paper what your goals are and what the actionable steps that you need to take to achieve your goals.
Okay.
All right?
Cool.
I also feel like another good, like when I think about good teachers that I've had, the ones that I don't want to disappoint, those are the ones that always stand out. And I don't know what they do what exactly it is that makes me feel that way, but even like one of my bosses, many of my bosses that I've had, I've just never wanted to disappoint them. And so it makes me want to just be the best person that I can be and do the best that I can and learn. So that's something that I was thinking about. Like my old boss, Jason, one time I basically, it was a production problem where I printed business cards and there was a mistake. So there was like 300 extra business cards that were printed that we all had to, that basically we had to throw out. And it cost the company money, and I felt so bad about it. And I was like, oh, like, how did that go past me? How did I do that? And when Jason came in, he just sat next to me and he's like, okay, so what can we do next time to make this better? And it was just the whole way that he just like came in right next to me, like sitting on a chair, like level with me. And there was something about that moment that I was like, oh, he's such a good teacher. And I don't know, I just never wanted to make him upset again.
Yeah, Jason's a really good guy. I went to school with Jason. He's super chill. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that guy's high all the time because he's very chill. And so I can't even imagine him snapping. It would take a lot for you to push him so hard that he would snap back at you. Let's go into some of the questions in the live chat. And Stuart, Aaron, anybody, mostly it seems like it's now Molly and I talking, but everybody can participate in this conversation. I want you to. So Caesar V is saying, what if a boss asks for your opinion and new ideas for everyone in the company, but never implements them and does what do they want anyways? It's frustrating because it feels like I'm doing a dog and pony show. I have some thoughts on this. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, interesting can of worms there. But before I go into that, I was wondering, is the AC on in your room by any chance?
It is or isn't. I don't know. I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a little warm in here, but I checked
it
earlier.
There's no sound coming out?
No, there's no sound. It's all good.
Okay.
All right. So you guys want to say something on this one or no? Or I can answer it.
So it sounds like your boss doesn't like your ideas and just ignores them and says, good job, good thinking, but then doesn't like do anything with them. Is that what it is?
That's what it is. That's in a nutshell. So he's wondering what's going on. What does he want anyways? He can't figure it out.
Yeah. So what's the question there?
The question is, what does he want? How do I resolve this situation? Because it feels like I'm wasting my time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I feel like he needs to confront him and talk to him about it in a way that's like...
Just give us an example. How would you do it, Molly? Let's not beat around the bush. So I'm your boss. Molly, I want to hear all your ideas. Molly tells me her ideas. Yeah, whatever.
I think I would be like, what's your vision? So I can try and better grasp like what you want to do, what the ideas are, so I can serve your purpose better. Something like that.
So what are you doing?
What do you mean?
Why are you asking this question? I'm trying to get meta here.
Oh, because I feel like I keep on throwing out ideas and you're not taking any of them. So, like, is there something wrong with the way that my ideas, I'm approaching this? I feel like it's our thinking, we're not synced right now, and I want to try and get there.
Okay. Let's assume your boss is genuinely trying to solicit ideas. Let's assume, because some bosses will say, I want all your best ideas. And then next day he's like, here's my idea anyways, because it makes it feel like you're engaged in the process. But it actually has the reverse effect. It makes you feel like, gosh, I should never try because there's no point in trying. Okay, so let's assume he wants you to participate and offer up some ideas. Let's just assume. So what's the problem? The problem is A, maybe you do not have the full understanding of the problem. So you're asking questions to get clarity, and that's what you're trying to do. It could be B, the presentation of an idea that's really clear in your mind is delivered poorly. Perhaps you're sending it via email, Perhaps you're trying to tell him in the hallway, and there may be a preferred way of delivering this information to him. He might have wanted you to send it via Slack channel or use Trello and then tag him on something. There might have been a very specific delivery mechanism or type that he prefers. And lastly, are you throwing some other kind of expectation on top of that? So if the boss asks you for ideas and you do it and the boss appreciates it, whether or not he or she implements your ideas or not is really irrelevant at that point. You have created value for them whether they use it or not. Perhaps you said something that triggered another idea in him, or he was just trying to gauge the temperature of what people are thinking, what they want, so that it can better inform him of how he should proceed, what things matter to you.
So I have a question about that last thing you said.
Go
Like,
ahead.
so the guy, he tells his boss an idea, and then, but his boss, you're saying, let me see if I understood that last part. Like, the boss might have appreciated the idea, and it might have changed the way he does things as a boss and direction of the company, but he doesn't say anything to the employee. He just, kind of just moves forward. And then the employee doesn't know, like, oh yeah, that was a good idea I had, and the boss used it. Like, the boss never says to him, hey, good idea, I'm going to do this now because you told me this. Like,
Right.
so he doesn't know, right?
Right. So you can ask, is what I'm doing helpful to you? That's all you need to know. Is what I'm doing helpful to you? Is there a preferred delivery vehicle? Do you prefer I send an email, send it in the morning, send it at night? Do you want me to remind you every 3 days? How do you want me to do this so I can be of greatest assistance to you? And that's really all that matters at that point.
Okay.
Okay?
Can we talk about this some more? I had something.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know if you don't want to talk about it, it's totally fine. I understand. But like, the whole Life of Blind thing I'm trying to do. That's an example.
Oh, now you're gonna
of this,
drag this
right?
out right
Yeah,
here.
bringing
All
it
right.
out, dude.
Okay.
So okay,
man, oh,
I
man.
came up with this idea, Life of Blind, to just shoot stuff around the office, just candid moments, and then cut it together. And then my idea is that in the long term, once there's a bunch of these videos, if you watch them, you'll know how an office like this runs, and you'll get all the little insights that Chris teaches, and maybe it's funny at the same time, which I thought was like the ethos of this company is like fun and educational, right? So, but I feel like, I don't know, like you're not really psyched about it or something. You don't want me to keep doing it. We had a little conversation yesterday, and I was unclear on exactly should I keep doing this or not. Like I'm kind of simple like that. Like I don't know exactly what you were trying to say to me. So, like, should I stop doing it or and focus on other things?
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in public
It's
right
just
now.
turned really real life like
This
right
is getting
now.
really real. Let's do it weigh in on this if you want.
Please, everyone, weigh in.
All right.
Here we
This
go.
is-
Let's hear
This is
it.
the real world,
This is the real
the
world.
future.
Yes. All right. I applaud what you do. I like that you take initiative. I like that you're doing this. I have some concerns about the amount of time we spend on it versus what we get out of it and what it's doing for the channel. So if you do something that only takes an hour, great, more power to you, keep doing it. But what is happening is we're slowing down on producing new content, and there's a long laundry list of things that we have to get done, and we can see this impact the channel, right? And I also gave you some feedback in terms of the couple episodes that you've produced. I think it's 2 now. That you want to make sure each one is a self-contained lesson, because people are looking at it saying, well, what happens next? And unless you literally release the episode within a week or so, people will forget. And so then it becomes a disjointed storytelling. I appreciate that you're going around, running around, capturing images, but that can't be the sole focus of what you do every single day. All right? Does that make sense, Aaron? So it's about measuring the effort versus the result. And I'm always looking for that balance. You guys need to know this. We run this company on a shoestring budget. There's 3 people that are employed here full time. There are now 2 interns working for us, Lassiter and Erica, who I will introduce you guys to in a second, Lassiter at least. And we're running on fumes, so I have to literally put in money from my account, from my own personal savings account, to run this company. So every day we have to act with a sense of urgency and to try to do things that have the greatest impact with the work that we're able to do. And that's it. That's all that's about, Aaron.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, well, ask me another question. I'll clarify.
Well, I don't want to like derail the show and make it all about
You already
this.
did that, but that's okay. Keep going. No, really. Seriously.
Okay.
Ask a follow-up question. Because people want closure. You see, we can't start half a conversation and not get to some closure.
Yeah.
So let's go. Say it.
No, I don't know. I feel closed. Maybe I'm just feeling hurt that my idea's not going to happen, and that's what I'm feeling.
Aw.
But it's closed. I think we're good.
Can I ask a question?
is there not any sort of value in the lifestyle aspect of Life at Blind?
No, there's tons of value.
I mean, we have all these other, we have the live stream, and we have the process, and we have all these other things that are very focused on, you know, teaching lessons and education thing. But I think that there is value for the channel in these sort of like lifestyle videos which get people engaged with what's going on at the future, at Blind, and make them feel connected. You know, you talk a lot about in meetings that we have, you talk a lot about community and, you know, building community and things like that. And I think it's just a personal opinion, but I feel like Life at Blind helps create, it's a tool to help create that community. Because like the live stream, it lets people feel like they are a part of what's going on here. It's not as direct as the live stream is, because people can comment and people can, you know, be a part of a person right now. You know, they can type something in and Molly will bring it up, or, you know, we'll talk about it or whatever. But Life at Blind also gives people a chance to experience that and be a part of the community in a less active way, maybe, like on their time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In the same way that, you know, almost 8 million people are subscribed to Casey Neistat. You know, why are they watching him? It's because they want to be a part of his life, you know? And I feel like Life at Blind has a value beyond just, you know, trying to also fit into the educational element of the channel. So
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say.
Great. I'm glad you spoke up, Stuart. I want to clarify a couple things. I don't believe anywhere in here I said that I didn't like it, that I didn't want it, that I didn't believe in it. I want it, I like it, I believe in it. I'm saying to everybody, we have a lot of content to produce, and we can't slow down the entire train to take out 3 weeks and produce one episode. It's just, even if it were a lecture I was giving, I would say that we have to move faster. So sometimes when you're doing something that doesn't have a clear goal in terms of its shape or what the end product is, like a painting, you can just keep working on it. And so right now I feel a tremendous amount of pressure to continue to deliver content in all formats, whether it's Life at Blind or any other kind of thing, on a schedule. We have to get this stuff out. So you guys can see, all of a sudden we started to slow down. And I have things for Aaron to do. For example, we're going to do this thing about water, the story of water. How much progress have we made on that?
Not much.
Not much. And I've given you a whole long laundry list of things to crack down on. How much progress have we made on that? So that's the problem. In a vacuum, everything is important. Everything is great. But, for example, just dovetailing back into the whole focus sheet, when you say this is our goal, and our goal is to get 400 subscribers to join this channel every single day. And when I see our numbers drop or when our numbers go up, I want to give people more of what they want and less of what they don't want. I'm listening to our audience. And I think Life of Blind and all these kind of behind-the-scenes documentary stuff is great, but it's not doing a great job of bringing in new people, because nobody cares about Life of Blind if you're not already engaged in the community. Let's address Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat brings you into his life, as many YouTubers do. We're not that kind of channel yet, but Casey produced for many years, I think at least 2 years, an episode a day. So if Aaron cranked out an episode a day and told a story in a very linear fashion, that would be a beautiful thing. I would have zero issues with that. I'm just talking about how much effort and energy is put into something versus what we get out of it at the back end.
Right. I just want to clarify on that last point
Yes,
there.
please.
That the reason it takes so long for me to finish those things is because I never work on them, because I'm prioritizing all the other things. So if I have a moment here and there, I cut something for the Life of Blind. Like, I see it as a personal project.
Right.
So that's why it takes so long, because it's like super low priority for me.
Okay, so when I say to you, Aaron, I need a cut down of that video, and it should have been done already, where's that video? That's what I'm talking about. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. The
Yeah.
audience doesn't know, but when we do these live streams, they're very difficult to watch unless you have all this time to sit down and have a conversation with us. So there are pieces of content that I want somebody to come strip out of the live stream and just put it out so it's easier for people to consume. That's it. It's a pretty straightforward job. So we need to keep doing that. And in addition to that, we should be doing these Life of Blind things. Let's move on, okay, guys?
Yeah, move on.
Okay, let's move on. I want to make a couple of comments here or read some of the comments on YouTube. Meg MCC said, Aaron, wish I could let things roll off my shoulders so easily and bounce right back. That guy would have intimidated me, and yes, I would have cried. So,
talking about you or
no, talking
Tony?
about you. Well, about Tony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is because we got
These
a
are
little
old ones,
backlog.
kinda,
There's
yeah.
a log jam here.
Okay.
Molly, what do you love most in your job of the future? Nicoletta Anton wants to know.
I don't know. There's so many things. I honestly love it all as
Aaron, camera.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love it all together. I really like working on the Facebook Live stuff, you know, production, and also working on my graphic design, the typography manual, and other, you know, worksheets and stuff like that for the future. So I love it all. It doesn't really, like, one thing doesn't stand out.
Yeah.
Good
Okay,
answer.
just to clarify, it's The Life of Blind, not Brian. That's a different show Aaron's working on with his buddy, The Life of Brian. But yes, it's The Life of Blind.
Blind, like you can't see, like the name of this company, BLIND.
Okay, I want to clarify with something.
Oh,
Hold on.
Okay.
Can I finish, please? Okay, Boise08 says 400 subscribers is not realistic, and that is a manager CEO's target. Then what you are doing for the team to allow this to happen, you are incorrect, Boise. We are hitting 400 subscribers plus every single day. There's a couple days when we dip below that, but we have very specific goals, and the channel is accelerating. There are days where we get over 600 subscribers a day. And then we look at the analytics and say, what did we produce? The Melinda series was very popular, so we want to produce more content like that. And so we understand. Okay, we look at our numbers and our analytics very carefully, and the 400 subscribers a day is very realistic given our trajectory. It's based on math. That's all it is. Okay. Who else? Oh, Scientist X. Scientist X, thank you very much. Don't show us a sad face, Scientist X. We're in a deep conversation, and we do truly appreciate your super chat donation. Thank you very much, Scientist X. We did not forget about you. Promise you, we would never forget. Okay, somebody's like, where's little Chris? I told you, Autobot is not here. He's preparing for school. He's got an IC test to prepare for.
well,
So-
Scientist X had a question with his
Ask it.
chat. So he says Beirut in an AIGA talk said.
Molly,
Ah,
Molly,
sorry.
stop! You're killing me. Learn to read, please. Read.
Learn to read.
Okay. It said that try and leech on mentors without knowing that they're your mentors. It was for when you're working with someone side by side. How do you do such a thing through the internet? I think that's...
Okay, I get it. So M. Beirut is Michael Beirut, I believe he's asking. Michael Beirut says, hijack your mentors. Your mentors do not need to even know that you are following them, that they're mentoring you. And there's so many ways that you can learn from people online. I think there's too much emphasis placed on being in a physical space with somebody. Let's just take, for example, somebody comes here. Molly, can you kill your mic, please? When somebody is working here at Blind and they're trying to be mentored by myself or Stuart, we're busy working, so the amount of time we can dedicate to you is a few minutes a day. Maybe it's half an hour. We'll give you something to do, we'll check in on you, and that's as much as we can do. And we're not going to sit around and pontificate and create lectures and do live streams just for you. Because we're busy working and you're busy working. That's the idea, okay? So if you think about what people like us are trying to do with our podcast, with our YouTube channel, is we're trying to dedicate certain blocks of time to teach you. And that could be more meaningful than the little scant bits of time that somebody's going to give you in person because they've got other things to do. And this is a great segue, and I want to talk about this a little bit. And Pat and Scientist X, if you have a follow-up question, feel free, hit us up again, and we will respond to you. Okay? I'm going to share this little story here, or a comment, not so much of a story. There are so many people reaching out to me, asking me very personal, detailed questions about their business, how to onboard this client. I can't do it, guys. I would love to, but I just can't do it because they're coming in by the hundreds at this point. And the best way I can tell you guys, if you want your question answered, join us on the Facebook Live. Chances are the thing that you wanted to know has already been answered. we're doing our best to knock these things down one at a time. All right, guys? Okay, let's keep going. Take a shot every time Chris tells Molly to kill her mic. It's a drinking game.
Drinking game.
Next week,
I'm down. Let's do
drinking
it.
game. Every time I have to remind Aaron to lean in or to cut to whoever's talking, or when Molly doesn't turn on her mic or turn off her mic, then you guys can take a drink. Okay.
Can I tell a story about?
I'd love to. Do it.
What we were just talking about.
Yes.
As far as mentoring goes, you know, catching people when they don't realize that you're coming off of them. One of the people that I wrote down in my notes as far as teachers go that would not be a direct teacher, but I think would fit in the category of being a mentor who doesn't know that he was a mentor, is one of my favorite filmmakers, Richard Linklater. When I first started getting into films, I didn't understand the concept of independent films. Like that didn't click with me. All I knew what was what was in the movie theater at the time, like whatever the regular Hollywood movies were. And then a friend of mine showed up at my house one day with a copy of Richard Linklater's Slacker. And that completely blew my mind and changed my whole concept of like how I understood what you could do with film and where you could go with it. And I've been watching this guy's films for a long time, and he's always experimenting. He's always doing new things. He's always trying different things. And I feel like every time I watch one of his films, I can pull something out from it. And I feel like his career has given me a chance to live in a way that I never probably would have thought possible when I was first conceptualizing all of this in my head. He definitely like allowed me to dream outside of the mainstream. His biggest influence on me, I think, would be just that he got me really interested in like small unit independent filmmaking, and that changed my life. Because when I was a kid and I was getting into films, I didn't, my parents always told me like that's not something that you can do, and you have to be like you have to be rich, and you have to be connected, and you have to be all this stuff. And that was, watching Slacker was the first time that I even realized that was something that I could do, that anybody could do it. And I think that's a good example of how like people can mentor you without them knowing it. He opened up my mind to a lot of different kinds of things, and he doesn't know me from Adam. He wouldn't know who I am. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to interject that along with the mentor conversation.
Great. Molly, people think we're picking on you. Are we picking on you?
Yes.
Shut up.
You're
Come on,
picking
get out
on
of
me.
town.
Yes.
How am I picking on you? Go ahead.
Said I can't read.
Well, because you're like stumbling through it.
She's just nervous and wants to do a good
Whatever,
job.
Chris.
AIGA,
whatever.
man. You had this whole opportunity. You know what? We're going to segue into a whole segment where we're going to read off a bunch of questions, and Molly's got that prepared. I think she's going to do a good job reading this time. But before we do that, let's go grab Mr. Lassiter. Can we go grab Lassiter and have him come on, and we can talk
so
to
I
him?
can queue up these questions.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Let's do that. So let's continue our conversation. I can read some things. I can't wait for the next video, like Game of Thrones with Chris's words of wisdom. I want to let you guys know, Aaron, thank you. I want to let you guys know that tomorrow we're going on a live stream again, same format. This time we're going to have a Zoom call with everybody who submitted something for the social media review. That one's going to get good, you guys. You guys understand if you're just tuning in. I just want to remind you how we're planning to do this. I think on Tuesdays, we're going to do design fundamentals. So we're going to try and teach you design, not the business of design, just straight up design. Thursdays is about mindset. Friday, we're going to do a critique, a review. And so we're going to cover a host of different topics from typography, graphic design, social media, your website or web page or landing page, something like that. We will review it all. So that's the content that we have planned for you guys. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell icon because that's going to let you know when we're on live. It's going to send you an alert. But better yet, if you follow us on our Facebook page, that'll let you know what we're talking about, and you can participate in that. So everybody's always wants to know, when can I submit something? Well, that's how you do it. Please don't send me a private message. It's not because I don't like private messages. It's because I get so many and I forget which account was on Instagram, was on Twitter. It's very hard for me to kind of figure this stuff out. Let me read a couple more comments. Ooh, Kit Fox dropping us $5. I just saw it pop up. I watched your video on charging more for logo design, and I doubled my normal fee, and the client said yes. Congratulations, Kit Fox. She says, I think, thank you. Have a Starbucks on me. Really appreciate it, you guys. You guys are what makes this possible. We have this mission. This mission is to change the way design and business is taught. And we're trying to use the tools that are available to everybody to change the game. If you guys are Game of Thrones fans, you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to break the wheel. Just break the wheel. Okay, so when you guys watch our channel, when you subscribe, when you tell your friends about us, when you write about us in your blog, you're helping us to achieve the mission. Are we ready? Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to the newest member of the future team, Lassiter. Lassiter, what is your last name, Lassiter?
My last name is Greg.
Very interesting. He has a last name for a first name and a first name for a last name. Lassiter Greg. I'm going to learn your name. You just started this week, right?
Yeah, I just started on Monday.
What is your area of specialty? What do you do?
Web development and marketing.
I like the way you say that with an eyebrow raise. Like you're like web development.
Yeah.
That's sexy.
It is
Very
sexy.
Meow.
Software engineering.
All right. Is it a coincidence that you work with Ben directly and you guys are both bearded gentlemen?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask someone in the higher ups.
All right. Hey, do me a favor. Reach out to that microphone. Pull it a little bit closer to your face. Let me see if that does anything. There you go. Well,
How about now?
ooh, see, the audio quality is much better. I know it's awkward having a thing in your face like that. Okay, you have a story about a teacher, a mentor, a coach, somebody that's been influential in your life?
I mean, the whole reason I got into technology, into media, is because of my first and second grade teacher. Basically, she saw in me that I was struggling and basically gave me an opportunity to learn by taking apart a TV. And by doing that, basically in between doing normal schoolwork and being able to take apart this TV, I got interested in technology, which led to robotics, which led to massive media, which led to eventually doing integrated production for the past 5 years.
Wow, that sounds so cool. I'm so jealous of your experience. What's this teacher's name?
Miss Hudson.
Miss Hudson. Thank you very much, Miss Hudson, for letting Lassiter play with your television set. Was this an old school tube television?
Yeah, it was like a 27-inch CRT. So basically it still had the entire like Mercury in it. This was back in the 90s, so apparently no one really cared.
Right.
So like
We still don't care.
yeah. So it was cool to be able to just simply take it apart. It was something that I did during school, like a couple minutes every single day. It took probably the entire year. I can't remember if it was my first or second grade, but yeah, that's what I did.
So you took it apart, and what did you learn by taking it apart?
For me, it was just simply how things work. So for me, like the reason why I like marketing is because I like understanding the psychology of like why people would purchase something. So looking at the psychology of color, for example, like why is red kind of like sending certain signals compared to blue? So like that's the reason why you go to a doctor's office. Almost every single doctor's office has like a blue or kind of like teal type color in their office to just calm people.
Wow. The connection that you have with hardware components and psychology and decisions, that is a really cool connection that you're making there. Your story reminds me of something that I grew up with. My older brother, he's 4 years older than me. He's a lot smarter than me, and he's much more technically inclined. He works in the software space. And I remember he had this green suitcase.
Yeah.
It was one of these jobs that you get from Goodwill or something that my parents didn't need anymore. And what we did, or what he did, was he had a collection of machines and parts of things that no longer were working. So he learned how transistors work. He learned how to do soldering from my father.
Nice.
And he would build motors and machines. And this was a continued progression. And it's very interesting that he stayed within that space. I remember when we were much younger, he built an arcade cabinet using Radio Shack parts and an old Atari 2600. He would take the joystick controller apart and switch out all the buttons. And we found that with a traditional joystick, you can move up, left, down, or right, and you can't do up and down at the same time.
Yeah.
But he remapped the controls to be buttons, and so you can actually hit up and down at the same time, and sometimes it would break the system and allow you to do something that you could not conventionally do. And we loved spending our time at the arcade, so he just built one at home out of plywood. He and my cousin Joe would do it, and they would charge us 25 cents to play a game that was basically free for us to play. So that's what your story reminds me of. Lassiter, I like your story. Is there anything else you want to say, Lassiter?
I was listening in before, and you guys were talking about Michael Beirut and like how you simply don't have to actually be there to be mentored by someone. For me, that person is Cal Newport. So he taught me this idea of like finding your perfect career, your perfect place in a job by combining autonomy, mastery, and kind of doing social good. So the psychology behind that is that if you have those three things, then essentially you will be very happy doing that role. So like if you are in this position where you have kind of like some control over your day-to-day, like what you're working on, that's good. If you have mastery over what you're working on and like you get better and better, that makes you feel better about your job. And then if you have the sense that you're contributing something in social good to people, then you're also getting that. And when those three come together, usually people find their passion.
Awesome. People want to know where they can see your work. They want to see your headshot. We got to get your headshot. So Aaron, that's on the checklist. Got to get Lassiter and Erica up on the site. They're contributing members of the team now. Our team is growing. And, you know, I have barely even said 4 words to you, and I just love the way you're coming across right now, Lassiter.
Yeah.
You might have to be a regular on our show. I like the calming energy. How do people find out about you? I think they're misspelling your name, so it's a tricky name. How do you spell your name, and where can they go to find you?
So my name is spelled Lassitergregg.
2 G's at the end there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can just simply go to .com at the end of my name.
So Lassiter Greg with 2 G's at the end, .com.
Yep.
Go check out his work. Great job, man.
Thank you.
Should we now get into a lightning round? Are you ready, Molly? Miss Molly? Good golly. All right, let's do it. Go ahead, Molly. Any day now while we're still young. It's too late for me, but for the rest of you guys. I knew it! Drink up, everybody! I knew it! She forgot to turn on her mic. Drink up.
Okay.
All right.
How about ethics and morals? Are you willing to work for a client with such products and services that you're against their principles or beliefs? I really like them.
Okay, Lassiter, since you're the new man on the hot seat, you want to try and answer that question first?
So ethic and morals, like, so the question in that is essentially like, who are you serving? Are you serving their customers or are you serving your customer? Because in a sense, like, I believe that you should be serving the people that you're working for. Now, the people that you're working for might be serving other people and you're creating products for them. Like, but I would say that I have no problem with serving people as long as it's the first connection. Now, of course, there's certain things that, like, I probably wouldn't really agree with working, like, if it gets into, like, really, really dark stuff. But
What do you
definitely
consider
is
dark
great.
stuff, man?
So, I mean, like, we're talking about, like, if you want to go really dark, like, euthanasia. Like, I don't agree with euthanasia. Like, so a doctor that does euthanasia in, say, like, I think in Washington it's, like, legal. Like, I would have, like, issues with that. If you want a gray area, then it would be something like, I don't know, tobacco products.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, with everything, there's always kind of like a gray area, but there's definitely like black things, and that's where you have to figure out, like, what do you agree with and what do you not agree with, and like, where is that grayscale?
Yeah. Perfect answer. I'm going to say something, and then I'm going to tell you guys a super dark story. You guys need to stick around for this part, all right, everybody? First, I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to tell you a really dark story. I don't think I've told anybody on live stream before. I'm in agreement with Lassiter's position. Is there some things that you draw a hard line on and you don't cross that? So if a client comes to you and even though they're willing to pay you a ton of money, if it goes against who you are, your fabric, your ethics, your morals, then you say no. But there are gray areas, and I'm with you on some of this stuff. I personally don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't swear. I'm not sure if I believe in God or whatever, even though I was raised Catholic. But if you believe in God and that's your thing, I respect that. I will work on your campaign. I think that every adult needs to make their own decision, and I have no issues with that. But let's just say if my father died from cancer or something from smoking, I might have a different point of view, and that's okay. And I think each person needs to make those own decisions. Obviously, when I get into hurting other people, as in, like, say, child pornography or something crazy, or a pesticide that's killing everybody, or some big issue like that, yeah, I'm not going to work on that. So I'm not going to work on something just to make money. There's lots of ways to make money. And to be honest, even working at Starbucks or whatever would be better than to work on something that would hurt people or something that goes against who you are. You got to be able to sleep with yourself and stare at the person in the mirror every single morning. I think that's really important. Here comes a dark story. Here we go. You guys ready for this? All right, you're ready. Sort of. Okay, here we go. This is an ethics issue, and I want to talk about this. So I'm going to rewind the tape here. I'm going to just leave out certain names to protect some people, even though they don't need protection, as far as I'm concerned. Many years ago, at the height of our industry, or our company at least, we were doing a ton of work, and we're working with a really big agency. And at that point, they were giving us all their work. Every account they had, we were working on. We were just blowing up. Like, I could not hire enough people. I could not charge them enough for them to go away. So in this moment, as things are happening, the economy is starting to get a little soft. I think we're talking about now right around 1999, 2000, early 2000s. And things are getting a little soft. Market had crashed, and we're recovering. And one of the clients, a producer and an art director working on a TV commercial with us, had said, "Hey, Chris, recently I got into a car accident, and you know how hard it is to work at this agency. We do so much work. We make the company so much money, not only the agency, but the client themselves. We make them so much money. And something like this, when I got into a car accident, nobody wants to take care of it. Nobody wants to help me. And I honestly don't make enough money. Here's what I want you to do. And I just want you to consider this." And they would throw out the caveat that regardless if you say yes or no, just rest assured that we'll continue working with you as we always have, because we love you guys. So I'm already getting a little creeped out, you guys. You know that the little hairs on the back of your neck that stand up, and I get this chill through my body. Like, I know what's coming next. I know it's not going to be good. So they said to me, "Help us out. The next time you bid on a project, I want you to put another $30,000 into the budget. So whatever you want to charge, you add another $30,000 into the budget, and I on this side will approve it. And then I need you to write me a personal check so that I can go take care of my car. I've talked it over with the executive producer, I've talked it over with the art director, and they're okay with this." What do you do in a situation like that? Have you ever been confronted by a situation where it doesn't hurt you per se at all, but you have to do something that might be a little shady, kind of south of where you want to be in terms of what you think is fair and appropriate? This is often referred to as a kickback, and in a lot of countries this is the normal way of doing business, but this is America. Everything's supposed to be above board, and we're supposed to trust each other, and it's supposed to be honest, and there's not supposed to be corruption. So I had a major issue with this. So what I said to them was this: "Guys, I'm not comfortable with this. This is not how I want to do business. And I realize that it sucks for you guys, but let me think about this. I need some moments to think about this, but I'm not entirely comfortable with this. It's making me feel a little weird." So I go away, and here's the contemplation. What do you do? Do you tell their superiors? Who do you even tell? How deep is this corruption within the agency? What happens? What do we lose by saying no? Are they going to be true to their word? Are we going to continue to get their business? So I knew now there was a lot riding on the line. We're talking about millions of dollars of business, current business and new business yet to be had. What do you do? So I told the guy, I called him back and I said, "Hey, I'm just not comfortable doing this. I am so sorry. I am not. If you need money, I will write you a personal check out of my own account. But I cannot feel good in my heart to bill you guys for this and pass it on to the client. I know you've done great work, but there must be another way." And then this person said to me, No, don't do that. No, we can't have you pay for it yourself. And we appreciate the gesture. We just can't. And so basically I got out of the situation. So you're thinking, did I navigate that? Did I straddle the line between right and wrong? Did I come away with some perfect answer to a horrible situation that I was put into through no fault of my own? And the truth is, we saw one account go away, another account go away, and eventually we stopped working with that agency. So the decision to stick by your morals and your ethics, it has a price, and it usually does. Because if the decision were easy, if there were no consequences, well, what is there to consider? So we essentially lost millions of dollars of business, and this was the thing that started to send a wedge between us and the agency. So I have no idea how deep the corruption went, but years later I heard people were fired. Nobody was charged with anything, but I think eventually it got out, and I'm just glad to say to this day, I'm glad, I'm happy, and I can go to my grave knowing that I did the right thing. It did cost us a lot of money, but at least I wasn't part of some scandalous thing. That's not how I want to live my life. And that's it. There's your juicy story, you guys. Off topic. Everybody's super quiet now.
Ready for the next question?
Yeah, good question. Woo!
Yeah, I think that was the best one.
Yeah.
Started with
good
the best.
question, man. You hit me hard, Molly, right between the eyes.
Good, that's what I'm
Good.
trying to do.
Yes, punch back. Boom.
Well, this question's actually for you, Chris, personally. At what point in your career did you get a coach, and what were the first 3 things he helped you with, and how?
That's a really great question. I think it's getting late, guys.
Okay.
So I think this is going to be our final question, okay? And just keep in mind, if you guys have more questions, hit me up on my Facebook Business Designer page. Comment on the thing that said, what are some controversial topics you want me to talk about? Ethics in design, in business could have been one of them. So let's do that. Now, let's talk about when I hired my coach. I think I hired my coach right around 2003, 2002. I can't really remember. And we were just coming off a really good year. It means that we had money in the bank account and things looked really good. So we made some changes that year. We hired a CPA, I hired a business coach, and I hired a financial advisor as well. So we started spending money. And this seems a little odd, maybe on the surface, that why would you spend money? Why would you make changes if everything's working out well for you? And I have a slightly different perspective on this. And this is an important point I want to make here, you guys. When things are going well, you have the highest risk tolerance. Thank you, Molly. You have the highest risk tolerance. You're willing to take the most chances. Imagine if things were the opposite. Things were really dire. You can't make payroll. You're less likely to spend money to try to fix the problem. So the time to act, the time to change is when things are going well. I hired a business coach. His name is Keir McLaren. I've talked about him many times before. You guys can go look him up. He coaches people and companies of all sizes and shapes, mostly in the entertainment space, but not all. I brought him in, and I didn't even know really what a business coach does. I just knew I wanted help. I wanted to learn, and there was a lot left to learn. I brought him in. I met with him, and he's not what you think a business coach looks like. He's an older man. He's heavier set. He looks like Santa Claus. He's got white hair, comes in, built like a linebacker, comes into my office, and we start to talk. I said, I have no idea how you work, how you do what you do, but I have some questions, and I would like your insight on this. So the first question I asked him was, I am 9/10 through with partnering up with somebody. I'm not sure it's a good fit for me. I just want to get your perspective on this. And within a series of 5 or 6 questions, he helped me to come to the realization that the idea to partner up with this person in this particular business model was insane. The summary of it was, you would make more money, have no headaches, if you just put your money in a mutual fund. And that was it. So if you're trying to do this to make money, you're going to inherit risk, headaches, personality conflicts, and everything else, and you're going to get into an industry that you don't know anything about. Why would you do that? And I knew in my heart, when he said that, this is what I was supposed to do. But I did not have the courage or the conviction to tell this other person that I wanted to pull out of the deal. So there's this law in the book Influence, written by Robert Cialdini. He talks about one of the laws, which is consistency. Our word means a lot to us. We would rather take personal harm than to break our word. To be seen as inconsistent is a powerful thing. So when I told somebody, like, I think I want to explore this business with you, and we're going through contracts, we're kind of mapping it all out. Through the process, I started to realize this is not a good fit for me. But because the train had been moving so fast and forward that I couldn't get myself out of it, so I thought. So Keir comes in, he breaks the business model down, he asks me what my pain points are, what reservations I had, and he explored it. And he says, what do you hope to do if, in terms of make money, if this all goes well? If it goes perfectly, how much money would you make? And I gave him some percentage, and it was very low. So if everything works out just like you plan, this is the most you would make. Now tell me the worst possible scenario. What does that look like to you? So he helped me to get clarity and to help validate some of the thinking that I had and to give me the courage to do what I needed to do. So it was a horribly awkward conversation. I felt super guilty. I felt bad. I went in. I talked to this potential business partner. I said, you know what? I've been doing a lot of soul searching. I've been thinking about this. And despite my initial desire to make this happen, I'm just thinking this is not a good business model for me. So I want to get out of this deal. I don't want to follow through with this. I want to get out. I'll do whatever I can to help support you, do what I can, but this is not a good business for me. I wish you well. And thankfully, I'm still friends with this person today, and she went on to have a great business, and we went on with our own thing. So that was one. I don't remember all three things, but the second thing that he did, which was really significant, was he taught me how to say what I think and not to make assumptions about what people want. And it's okay to just ask people, what are you trying to get done? How will you make your decision? What is your budget for this job? So he gave me the courage and the tools to say what I think, and I've been using those tools ever since. And he fundamentally radically changed how we pitched for commercial work. He taught us how to pitch. He taught us how to handle ourselves on the call, the rules of engagement, if you will. And so I think those are the top three things that I can remember. Maybe not necessarily the first three things, but the top three things. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody that joined us today, including Lassiter Greg with 2 G's, Molly Drill. I was going to say Molly Ringwald. Obviously, it's not Molly Ringwald. Molly Drill and Mr. Aaron Zakelli. Guys, let's roll the titles. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys tuning in. See you guys next time.